now have a brief open session. If anyone in the audience would like to address the council or have any questions, please come forward and state your name and address for the record. And we'd be more than happy to try to answer your questions. And don't be shy.
Any hard Cal 2017?
There we go, you're saying yes.
How's South America?
Don't be shy, we don't bite.
Please don't. We're too far away from
I'm Spencer Puja, and my address is 1371 East 2400 South. I would just like to know, Mayor, can you, well, exactly define your job and what you do?
I'm sorry.
That's an excellent question. Yes.
So my job is to make sure these guys do their job. So, no, I just, I oversee this meeting. I'm one who approves the agenda. And then I just serve on other boards and like the rec board and the fire district board. I make appointments of different council members to sit on waste management board, the sewer district, the mosquito abatement, the planning commission. So not only do we serve the city in this capacity, but we also serve the residents on other boards that affect the whole county. And then I like concerts in the park and movies in the park, so I plan those in the summer, so.
He has to sign all the checks.
Yeah, he gets writers around.
Yeah. We'd be here all night if I was. But no, that's a good question.
And if anyone's mad, they go to the mayor. So there you go. And if they're happy, they come to
Me.
wheel around.
Anyway, does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. Good job. Good way to put me on the spot. Okay, community promise report. Here.
Okay, farmer's market, starting off with that. So they had the first farmer's market of the season, and it wasn't very well attended, mostly by the vendors. There was only 3 that showed up. Katrina's having a hard time getting that up and running, and we just kind of discussed that it's just the nature of something brand new, but hopefully it will, continue to get better, and as well as June, so there's not really a harvest for produce yet, so hopefully as those go on, those will improve a little bit too, but, so she's trying to do everything that she can to get more vendors, so she's put application form online to hopefully make that a little bit easier, and she's updated and made the webpage a little bit easier to navigate, so that hopefully that'll help as well, and she's, yeah, so we're just hoping, fingers crossed, that it will pick up and take off, she's still not really good, so. Summer literacy, so it started last Friday, and they've done a lot of planning, and they have a lot of fun stuff, and getting activities lined up. On June 28th, Miss Davis County has committed to come and be readers, so she's very excited about that. And they're also looking to possibly, I don't know if she's going to be contacting the police, but they're just wanting to have maybe more of a police presence, to kind of ask questions, or someone maybe interferes, or I don't know, she may be contacting you about that.
They've also taken turns reading to the kids during the summer as well.
We did this email with the schedule, so we will have an option for you.
Okay.
And then just one other point too, I don't know if you got the email or not, but last Friday after the first event, they had the most kids ever show up. It was 272. Wow. Kids showed up for the first event, so that was incredible.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, Mary's doing a good job, but unfortunately, she's still one of the serious ones. I think she said she's done it for 5 years, and she's kind of ready to pass the torch, but we had come up with a name. I don't know how that panned out. Oh, it was, maybe they weren't ready this year, but maybe next, or
Yeah, and
Or the following
I
year.
think she's gonna get with Mary Sue, find out all the details, but she's willing to do it next year.
Okay, Mary Sue was happy with that, so. Anyway, okay, so Arts and Parks and the concerts and the movie night, which the mayor loves. But had the first one, it was well attended, and, it went well. The next one is July 15th, and the Rockies will be performing as well as Endless Summer, right? And, the Spider-Man and Spider-Verse will be the movie that follows that concert. August will be the Black Canyon Band, and Dumble will be shown after that. We don't quite have the date set for that one yet.
July date?
July 15th. And then for CERT, the county competition will be held at the city shop on September 28th. And they are in need of certified people to help with that event.
What day is that?
The 28th of September. So we'll probably hear more about that. She wasn't there, that was just her short little note, so. Yeah, so. And lastly, summer rec, it's been going on for about 2 weeks and it's going really well. There's a lot of new classes being offered this year, and she said the youth workers are doing a great job. And the number of participants in summer rec are also gone up. They have 525 signed up for the June session, so that's really, well, our program is Friday, maybe except the farmer's market.
Only the farmer's market.
Hopeful for that.
I've got a message out with Katrina to meet with her, so hopefully she'll find, me.
Yeah, so, and then our next meeting will be held on July 11th. Any questions for me? Thank you.
Thanks, Rachel, appreciate it. Okay, next on the agenda is item number 7, Chief, please report.
Good evening, how's everybody doing? Good. Everybody in the police department's good, all good?
Very good.
Our dispatch on-due calls, 995 was the number for May, and so that is a combination of actual cases as well as any time we are out on a person or stop or, anything that comes from dispatch or on view by the officers. So the actual number of cases that we, assigned to the scope is 262. In the activity report, several things that we actually participated in, the Utah Police Memorial at the State Capitol, the drug testing training, which was here, Administrative Professionals Luncheon, the Northern Utah Law Enforcement Conference, we talked a lot about cold cases there, and some training for that. The Davis County Law Enforcement Police Memorial was May 15th. We also had the Woods Cross Memorial Day event on Memorial Day, and then participated in the South Davis firearm shoot with the departments in South Davis. We attended the Lakeview EMS Appreciation Luncheon, at the Lakeview Hospital. The Davis School District Safety Meeting was held. Also, we completed on our side the Attorney General firearm scenario training, and the date for the City Council is June 27th at 6 p.m. And that's the address listed on College Drive in Murray.
Are we meeting next year, or meeting there at 6?
I thought we'd meet there, but we can carpool if we want to meet here. At
Oh, I-
5:30. Whichever better. Whichever, if
We
we
don't
want to
like
meet
the
here.
siren?
Right.
All right.
So if we want to meet here, though, we can meet here. Totally up to the council and mayor if you want.
I'm not here to make that.
Not going.
Have fun now.
Okay.
No, don't have fun now.
Okay. I spoke last week at the senior lunch bunch, that was a fun time, I accused them of doing illegal gambling.
Didn't go over well, huh?
One lady in the back was called, we don't do money. Officer Hellier is no longer with the Woods Cross Police Department, I think that went out, and our replacement, Colby Green, will start July 8th, will be his start date, so a couple weeks ago. Use of force reviews, we had a suspicious vehicle at AAA Story, the driver was arrested, pointed a taser at him, but was not deployed, and domestic violence call that arrest control was used on that account. Those were our only two uses of force for the month of May. So SWAT, they just had their regular training. At the high school, for the last month of school, they had some traffic accidents, criminal mischief cases where windows were shot out by a BB gun, and those suspects were located. Brett's, case that was actually occurred on the USU campus, which is by students at the high school, so that was handled by the USU police. That's the skateboard and Maripod, and then, of course, the DARE graduation at the two elementary schools, Odyssey and Wisconsin Elementary, that went very well. I had a lot of good positive comments about Officer Linton and their program, and so, very appreciative mothers. K-9 activity, we assisted the sheriff's office on a traffic stop. There was some meth and heroin and some paraphernalia that was located. This is Centerville PD and a robbery. Suspects were tracked near a home in Farmington. That was the first month. And then assisted local PD, we talked about last month, or last 2 weeks ago, when Ranger indicated on the body of a 5-year-old child. Second division had 20 active CANR cases, child abuse and neglect cases, and they work in conjunction with DCFS, and 25 total for the month of May, theft, property fraud, and assault cases. Detectives. The crime spotlight, our preliminary hearing has been set for the homicide that was at Discount Suites. That's scheduled for March 4th. No, that's not right, that's June 4th, sorry, that's the wrong date on it. We're waiting for the Office of Medical Examiner report from the Tractor Supply accident. Haven't received that yet. We've had numerous drug arrests for methamphetamine and for marijuana and other illegal drugs. Our patrol officers and canines are doing a fantastic job. We did have we helped North Salt Lake solve the mail theft problem they had with someone who's stealing mail to their whole city. So our detectives helped with that. And then we have had a slight increase on child abuse cases. We've had several in the last 4 weeks. Any questions about, our current stuff going on, or anything in June that we might want to cover?
I think we just wait till next month to cover everything once we get all the reports, because we sent out the press releases and everything.
Yeah, to all the council, they've all seen them.
Yeah, remember if there have been any new ones?
There was a new one today, Channel 2, or Channel 4 interviewed, Heather White on our behalf. So, that'll be on the student again. And I had a question about National Night Out, the date. Originally, we would do it on the Monday, second Monday, but I think there's a conflict.
But the
Has
conflict,
that been resolved, or? we should
that
start-
has not been resolved, so that's why we haven't set the date in August yet. So I was gonna get with you to decide, is there a day that you want to do that? The following Monday, would that be kosher, or would we,
The 19th?
is that the 19th?
Yeah, that's still, there's a week before school starts, right?
It's school starts
School
on
starts
the
now.
20th.
On that day.
That'd be hard to do.
We can go a week the opposite way if you want, or?
The problem is that, we could even do, we don't have to do it on a Monday night, we could do it on a Thursday or a Friday night.
And the first Tuesday is the National Night Out, but we don't have to do it on the same night as the whole season. That's the night that they recommend. But, we're flexible, whatever we wanna, figure it works out. We can have further discussion if you wanna think about that.
So so the problem with the 5th is that we have our farmer's market scheduled for that night.
Okay.
And on the 12th,
Good for a month.
So let's bring them up.
there was, right?
Yeah, and have the band.
Have we tried a Friday night?
Like, we did a Friday night real early on with it.
We did a Friday and a Saturday, we found out that was date night, and most of the moms and dads are gone. It's hard to
We've
get
done Mondays and Tuesdays for the last several years.
Mostly Mondays.
So they seem to, because we've done it on council night before. That's right.
Whatever we want.
Do we wanna do it on the 6th? That's not a city council meeting, though, but that, we have the concert and the. We can make it a short meeting.
Well, that's you, man.
Well, you
make that work if you want.
Is that too close? all together by then?
Oh, yeah, sure.
Okay, let me check with the band, make sure they're good with that night.
Okay.
And if they're good, then we have all the night out against crime done by, let's say, 7:30, and then the concert starts from 7:30 to 9, then we'll do the movie at 9.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah.
that'd be all right.
Yeah, I think Mark's free, so you want me to pencil it in?
Yes, please.
No, we want you to ink it in.
Well, let me get with If we want a concert, I have to clear that.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
She keeps texting me, wanting to know, okay, when are we doing this? We're trying to.
No.
Let's kind of plan on it, let's plan on that unless I call you.
Okay.
I'll let you know.
All right, then we
Okay,
can-
We used to have confirmation. Or should we just put it on there?
Just put it on there for now.
Chief, any idea why the child labor cases are going up?
I don't have any idea.
Increases physical abuse, or sexual abuse, or both?
Physical. Yeah.
What time would National Night Out start?
It varies. We can start at
4:30 or 5.
Yeah, we can start at 5,
From 5 to 7:30?
5 to 7, or 5 to 7:30, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay, Rachel left, right? Okay, thanks, Chief. We appreciate all that you do and are doing. Let our officers know how much we appreciate them as well.
Okay.
Okay, item number 8, consideration to adopt a resolution setting the property tax rate for 2019. So, that's set at 0.00891, is that correct, Eric?
That's correct. And if you recall, when we raised the property tax, back in 16, it was 2 zeros and a 1, and now it's gone back to 3 zeros and 8. So, this is the way it works.
Just because property values are
Property goes
going up.
Property values go up, and the rate goes down, so the revenue stays the same.
Both the fire district and the rec district were the same, so.
The 801,000, how does that compare with what we did this last year? It's, just a little bit more, but not a whole lot. And actually, I budgeted a little bit more than what we got, so, and part of the problem, is what I talked about, that when you adopt the budget, is that a couple of years ago, we had kind of a windfall. We were up to about 860, and I used that as kind of a benchmark number, and that didn't work out good. So that's why the numbers, I had to make an adjustment there. Because this is more than real numbers, what we got. I know the sewer districts, just when they calculated theirs, there's a fairly significant, difference this year, below what we were expecting. Yeah, I think there was some appeals on some, state property, under the personal property, and that's all done in this.
Okay, any other questions for Gary? If not, I will call for a motion then to approve resolution number 2019-299, is that what it is? 279. I'll second. Okay, have a motion and a second, all in favor of that?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay. The ayes have it. Now, item number 9 is consideration to adopt, consideration to approve a resolution adopting the 2020 budget for all city funds. Gary, do you want to?
Well, the only comment I have is I put in the report, I had to make the adjustment for the property tax, so I reduced that. And then, a couple of areas I reduced was the elections, primary elections, I took some money out of that. And then the fire district budget was coming a little bit less than I budgeted in the tender budget, and then I just adjusted some of the other elements. Other than that, they would have been presented as a hearing.
Okay,
school, updating the school zone lights, is that being budgeted in?
Well, we've got money in there, we'll just have to move it around. Scott's aware of it.
Okay.
Got it. So I don't know if that's the reason I hadn't said, I don't know if this was just a line item for that, but we've got money.
And then my other question is, did we get everybody, in the police department where they are supposed to be?
I think we're close on the chief.
We're close, we have a couple, we're halfway on, but that's close to close.
Yeah,
We're not quite close.
We're pretty close.
How long are we waiting? Like,
We said we'd do this in January, I think,
Yeah.
this budget year.
okay, see if we can get the rest of them? Okay. All right, thank you.
Okay. So resolution number 2019-280, I'll call for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Okay, let's see here. Do we want any discussion before we go into the public hearing here?
Or the budget adjustment.
Yeah.
If you want me to just give my short report, I can do that.
Let's do that, and before we open up to the public hearing, Gary, if you want to go over those adjustments for the meeting.
Okay. There's a number of adjustments that shown on the sheet, I'll just highlight the major ones. In the data department, we increased the equipment line by 4,000, because back when we were doing the bidding out, we didn't have that pinned down, but because it's taken a little while to get all the equipment in place and get the line from CenturyLink in, we have to pay the support costs until that's balanced out. The attorney line item was increased by 60,000, we have personnel matters and some other developmental issues that we were working with the attorney, so that's increased that budget. City Hall, we had an increase in buildings and grounds of 26,000, we had to put the new roof on the building here, we were getting leaks in a number of the offices, so we had to do that. The police department, we had in operation, the fuel prices have gone up over when we budgeted, so I increased that by 25,000. And then I've increased the equipment line item, to equip the new vehicles was a little bit more than anticipated. And then we've got money for the rifle radios, tasers that was going to be in the 2020 budget. That's the cheapest we could get those purchases this year, so we can do that. Transfer to other funds, I've increased it by 30,000. That's part of the agreement with Factory, the developer of Smith. We're going to give 35% of the sales tax, and that's come in higher than what we anticipated, so I've increased that by 30,000 for that. In the water department, there's a 20,000 increase in equipment supplies and maintenance. We had to replace one of the variable drives in well number 4. We had some stand issues and knocked it out, so we had to replace it. The garbage fund, I had increased the garbage can line item by 7,000. Again, replacing some of the cans, but the main thing is we got a lot of people moving into the camera filling, so we had to replace those. Those are the main changes. Council has any concerns or questions on any of the other items listed, like we discussed those.
Any questions for Gary before I open up to public? Okay, so we are now in a public hearing, so if there's anyone from the audience who would like to comment on the budget adjustments to the 2019 budget for all city funds, please come forward and address any concerns that you might have. Okay, since there's no public comment, we will close the public hearing. And we'll move on to item number 11, which is consideration to adopt resolution adopting the adjustments to the 2019 budget. The resolution is 2019-281.
Just got one question for you.
Sure.
Are we in our second year of paying sales tax to Factory?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 5 years?
5 years.
With a cap, right?
There's a cap
on the amount, but it's a pretty high cap. So,
Well, the sales tax doesn't have a cap.
It's just the percentage for the 5 years.
Yeah.
On the property tax, there's a cap.
the cap is cool, sales tax, property tax, some of the things that the road tax, it's covered in the code, so it'll be an increase of close to that.
But the good news is, there's more tax coming in than we had planned on.
Exactly. It's generating more than at least what I anticipated, but I thought it was, yeah.
Well, if you're ready for the motion.
I'm ready for the motion.
I make a motion that we adopt resolution 2019-281, adopting adjustments to the FY 2019 budget for all city funds. Have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, Ryan?
Aye.
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 Okay, nice. It's passed. Okay, now we get into the good stuff. Item number 12, front runner station area plan presentation, and I know we have a member of the planning commission here.
We do, last fall, we, applied for, a grant, a land use, transportation, connection grant to the Wasatch Front Regional Council, to perform a study of the, front runner rail station and the surrounding area, and, things that could be done, development-wise to improve, that, asset to the community, and, as such, in the end, we wound up, choosing, Crandall Ramsula, as a consultant to, assist us in doing that study. And, over the last 6 months, there's been, several, focus group meetings, a couple of, community workshops that were very well attended, and a lot of work put into this. And so, we have Don with us tonight, Randall, that will make a presentation, of the recommendations, and scenarios that have been coming out of this study as it's been developed.
Yeah, okay, great. I'd also like to just recognize Kevin Lamont from UTA, and, they've been a good partner in this project, along with, Wasatch Front Regional Council, Christy Dahlberg, who attended every meeting as well. So they've given us a lot of guidance. They continue to do that as part of the draft. They're a project partner, and, clearly they're a major, if you will, property owner. So some of the things that we're talking about tonight, it's a draft, and it's for your consideration right now, and we say the same thing to UTA and Wasatch Front as well. So with that, I got about a 20-minute presentation, and I'm gonna go through this, and I think what I would like to do is just pause. If you guys have any questions, just feel free to chime in, and we can run with that. So are we into, I'm not quite seeing it on our screen here, right? So we should get to, okay, so maybe that's the best we can do. Full screen, is it full screen? Yeah. Read a little bit. Great, all right. So we're going to talk a little bit about background information. So as Tim said, we've had a pretty robust and pretty inclusive process. I know like Julie and others who attended a lot of those meetings, but for the council members who hadn't, I'm going to just kind of get everybody up to date. So the study area is where you see the boundaries, and you see blue colored property, those are some of the major owners of property. The unique thing about this boundary is it also includes another state, which is kind of unusual. So you've got the city of West Bountiful as a partner as well. And along with this, we've also looked at the surrounding area, we call it the influence area. So there's some major considerations we need to think about, most particularly Holly refinery. We tried to talk to them, but frankly, we didn't have an opportunity to do that. But we heard a lot of comments about Holly and impact on any sort of development here, and that's been taken into consideration. So here's the project schedule. It's been quick. It hasn't been one of these 3-year studies. It's really started in January, and it's really finished tonight with this presentation. That doesn't mean the work is over. So really, this is really just an intent to is really to get you to the next step. So there's some recommendations that are gonna come out of that. So let me just kind of go through this fairly quickly. So the first part of this is we came from hat in hand, really no concepts to develop, but really to talk about existing conditions, what we observe there, talk about what you can build off in terms of constraints. And really the biggest piece is just getting community input on what their issues and concerns are. And as Tim said, we had the focus groups and we had a community meeting on March 4th. And, we talked about some just basic fundamentals, if you were to get some sort of things in terms of improving development around the station or in terms of better access. So typically you want to see more intensity to the station. Most people who walk to transit, believe it or not, only walk a quarter mile. So we need to think about those connections and good development. We want to get eyes on the station so it's safe. So those contribute to those two things. So if you took that kind of quarter mile format in that diagram and applied it here, you see that. So the intensity and the steadier, in fact, is a little bit outside of that kind of diagram we just looked at. We talked about complete streets. So not every street has to serve the same role. But generally within the station area, we'd like to see a little bit more emphasis towards walking and biking. So there's a lack of some of that kind of infrastructure. And so the idea is how can we fill that void and fill off what we call the gaps in that system. So when we design this, we also need to think about who it's serving. So it's not for the able-bodied, but we need to think of the people who are most vulnerable. So we know we have a couple schools nearby. We know that we've got an aging population, and then there are people who are disabled. So if we can design a system for people who are either 8 years old or 80, it's going to be working for all the rest of us. We have 2 sub-consultants on our team. One is a market consultant, and what they did is looked at the market. So there's what's going to be market trends and demographics for growth over the next 20 years, and they identified a target. So this isn't set in stone, but if you look at all best conditions, it could you get development around the state and what type of development you could get. As you can see, it's light employment, so that leaves almost like a combination of light industrial and a little bit of office with it. Office uses, there's some already, as you know, within the station area. Some retail, so not a lot of it, but enough to service the station, a coffee shop, a cafe, a bakery, something like that. And then, if appropriate, you could get residential. That's the hottest market in the region. And there's a little bit of fear, and rightly so, because of how much housing do you really want to get into the station. And so we've been pretty conservative about that as well. A lot of housing is probably not going to build that. In terms of things that we need to overcome, again, Holly to the north, the track created a knife edge that really separates the station area. It's tough to get there. It's almost like you can't get there from here on the west side. We heard a lot of sort of anecdotal stories about gates being closed and parents not being able to get to their children, and it becomes really a substantial issue. And so how could we bridge that track was one of the big things that we were hearing from the community that needed to be overcome. Things to build on. Let me go back to a little jump here. I know you've come out of your general planning process, and you've got a large growth area in Northwest Quadrant, and that is a transit shed, if you will. And it's also a user shed. We have some additional uses, employment, and other businesses, so how can we tie that in as well? And then we have property, frankly, right for redevelopment. And so what could happen over time where you see the yellow area? So a lot of things to build off of here. And I also mentioned one thing, we also need to get another transit system, a bus rapid transit system that will connect it as well. So you'll have another way to connect to other parts of the region. So we presented this and we then tallied everything that the community said. The 24 responses, pretty good for just a fairly straightforward piece. So we've got a whole array of information on that. And so what we did is then we said, this is really, we need a response to the community. And so everything that's going to come the next phase, we talked to them and said, we're going to come back to you and tell you how it responded to your issues and concerns. So that second meeting, we developed 3 scenarios, and I'll briefly go through those, and we let the community and stakeholders evaluate that as an April 17th. And so there are three concepts that we looked at, three scenarios. One was minimal change. What happens if you just let the market naturally, organically change things over time? A moderate change option where you maybe just push it along with a little bit, maybe an incentive or a little bit of assistance to it. And then what happens if you have a greater change? What's the big picture? Maybe this one's maybe out there, maybe it's 20, 30 years out there, but what could you do on that? So it's kind of a range of those two, and they're not mutually exclusive, but they are complementary. So it's essentially almost like a phase plan. So those are those, and so we presented those to the community and stakeholders, and we had, again, pretty good attendance, and we sat around tables and marked the drawings up and, recorded the comments that, we had in the community. And we had a spirited discussion, it was really, actually quite fun. And so that's what we came out of that. So any questions about that before I go on to it? So it's, again, pretty inclusive and pretty robust. So out of that, what we try to do is give you some strategic recommendations. A lot of planning process, they give you a laundry list, okay? Go at it and walk away. So we're trying to do to be effective, because communities only have so much time and so much personnel and so much money to address issues. So what we try to do is say, what are the 5 things that really are important that will leverage a significant amount of change? And so this is really what the basis of the strategic recommendations are about. So we've got a document, and we try to keep it fairly short. It's pretty dry. There's a lot of appendix information that goes along with this as well. And so there are really 5 pieces of the strategic recommendations, and I'll go through each one of these now. So the first scenario is essentially the moderate change one, the number 2. And the rationale for taking that is that, one, there was quite a bit of support from the community. It doesn't preclude a significant change over time. If you built all of this out, you could go on to it in, say, 10, 15, 20 years. And also, lots of these projects are feasible, whether it's in terms of financially or in terms of capacity to do. So this is why this is largely pitched. Let me just go back to that. So if you see that where you see the orangish lines, those are the walking and biking improvements that they're expecting to see on 800 and 700, on 500. And then what we're talking about is walking and biking bridges, probably the central component of this in terms of getting access to your neighborhood to the west side and alleviating some of the concerns that the community had as well. And then there's some spot infill development on UPA parcels. So there's no development that was suggesting in this on any private sector parcels except for the possibility of a potential parking lot. And that potential parking lot may not even be needed. As you know, the UPA parking lot is about 50% utilized today. And so what we said is if you get development, we need a 1-to-1 replacement. And so will we need an additional parking right? That's something that we'll have to have, the community will have conversations with UTA. Parking rights are very expensive, so there's a way that we don't have to build it. And you got better utilization of existing facilities, maybe that's all right. So here's just another little 3D sketch looking from the southeast towards the northwest. You give this sense of it. So the idea is to try to keep it neighborhood scale. This isn't downtown Salt Lake. This is a scale that appears to be appropriate for this community. And it's also very marketable. So all these are really feasible in terms of what could be built in the community today. So there's a summary of that development, and we'll get into detail of that. That this has really been the basis for our assessment, what we call business case assessment, and looking at what kind of infrastructure would be needed to build it, and what kind of development yield would come out of it. So there's a lot of math that supports this development. So with that concept, we developed those 5 priority projects, and I'll go through each one of these. But the idea here, again, is to not backload this and say it's a 20-year plan and let's just sit on it for 15 years. But what could you do to see substantial change over 20 years? And what are those actions that you need to do in 5 years? So, this draft is, making some suggestions, and I think working with Tim and UK and others, there's gonna need to be a little bit more detail on it, frankly. It's pretty raw right now, but it's really trying to give you a rationale to do short-term projects. So when we looked at the project, there were really a couple things that we want to be able to describe. What are the components of that project? What needs to be done? And, what are the tasks? What are the actions that need to be done? Who's gonna do it? So that somebody isn't scrambling around and saying, you do it, no, you do it. There's gotta be a leader. There could be an assistant, whether it's the city, UTA, somebody else, a developer. And there's a schedule, so when the things need to be initiated, and then possible funding sources. So there's nothing nailed down on this, but you need to have an understanding of where you're gonna get the money to build, or do whatever you're gonna do. So that's what we try to do. So we start with the first project, which is the public investment to build that walking bridge. And so, what we're suggesting is, the first action is to do a feasibility study. Because there's a lot of things that are affected, it's going over trackway. There's underground, pipelines, there's, Superfund contamination, there's power lines, there's property ownership that needs to be looked at beyond the scope of this feasibility, the strategic plan piece. So the first step we're saying is, do this study, figure out exactly what the costs are, what the constraints are, and then come back and talk about it in the next project. So that's, we're not really necessarily kicking the can down the road, but it's, again, it's a little bit beyond the scope of what we want to do. So who could do that? We think that obviously if it's, on UK land, they've got a good project partner, the city needs a role, maybe some others as well. So this needs to be thought out a little bit as well. And we'd like to see this somewhere within 5 years. So the next, one would be, if we want to see some development in the station, it's going to mean removing some of the existing parking lot. And as mentioned before, we only 50% or so utilize the parking lot today. If you did a one-to-one replacement, you can't put it all here. You can get pretty close. But that would mean, building where you see that light, the darker green, expanding the existing parking lot into those areas. And looking at UTA's what that costs for space, would be about $1.2 million for an expanded parking. Not a small change, but not a huge number in terms of what this might be able to leverage. And again, some responsibilities have been identified for that. The next project is, there's a vacant parcel on the bend between 800 and 700, and that is UK land. Our market study says that there's room for some commercial development there, in particular office. And these would be professional office, smaller scale, and would be probably a couple buildings with some parking lot. And that would yield quite a bit of private sector investment. We see that as about $1.8 million in private development. And that is private development, then it contributes to your tax roll. But sitting vacant today in public land, and we need to get a partner with UTA to develop that, but this could be a boom in terms of, listen to your discussion about your shopping center and the tax generation. Really, this is kind of another way of getting land back on the tax rolls. And so there's a little bit of work that needs to be done on that as well. And then finally, if we did a long-term, looking at BRT, getting one-way replacement of the parking lot, we've got a placeholder if you were to build another parking lot. And part of the rationale for this over here on the Ralph Smith land is that we know, talking anecdotally and with others in the traffic analysis, if there is a delay on the Union Pacific track, or Holly's got something going on, it's really tough to get there. And you've got a major growth expansion area on your northwest quadrant, this might be strategically a good place to put another parking lot if you were to do it. And you see that it's a fairly significant cost in terms of acquisition and other things like that. So our hope is that you never have to build this, but here it is if you needed to do that.
So when did you take it as far as to go out and talk to property owners?
We've engaged them through the process, and clearly, they're aware of things. There's got no agreement on any of this, and that would have to be the next phase to talk to them and get a willing buyer. But, this is a piece of land that's got a lot of superfund contamination on it. It's fairly low and underutilized site, so in terms of, you couldn't build office on it probably, you couldn't build housing on it. So it's a yard as it is today, or maybe something like that. So is this the highest and best use of this? I think that'd be a conversation for us over time, but it appears functionally you could make this work if there was a market or a desire from the UK to have a bigger park lot. So, but that all needs to be worked out as part of the next phase of it. And so that's identified. And so finally, really, the big takeaway on here is that we got this. And this is consistent with, policy from the UPA and the Wasatch Regional Fund, trying to get more active at the station and get more people on transit by new development at the station. So could we get some development here? And so you see there's there's some townhomes, there's some commercial development in terms of retail, civilian, and then we have a placeholder for a BRT station. So right now, the planning study for the BRT essentially is a dot on the map. We have no idea exactly what the program is for that. But we work on all these kind of projects, so we just made a shot in the dark. And say you're gonna need 3 days and you're gonna need a public assembly, or that'll all be worked out. But if you were to get some development here, it's about $6.2 million of private sector development that will be generating taxes as well. So, we've looked at that as well, and this is all, again, it's consistent with the market set. So that works with, needs to be worked out, the project partners as well. So, what we did is often then we look at what we call the business case. So, we looked at what the development costs are for the private sector. We looked at public infrastructure to build it in terms of roads or parks or open spaces. And then we looked at the associated tax revenue generated to do that. So often if there's a public cost to build this, does it pay for itself? It's essentially what we ask. And so what we looked at is that's the amount of development you could get out of it, by $12.2 million. And then there's 5.1 of public infrastructure needs to build that. And so there's some ratios, rules of thumb that we typically look at, and we then done some more assessment. Yes, go ahead.
One question, why was the walking and biking bridge not included in that?
Because we have no idea exactly what that cost would be. So because of the contamination and other pieces on that. But rule of thumb, it might be another $2 million. Just pulling it out, top of my head from my experience. So just give you a ballpark number on that. So as part of this business case assessment, it's very conservative. And so this is essentially the worst case scenario. We've not candy coated it, we haven't, tried to make this, tweak the numbers so it's in our favor. So one of the key pieces of this is that there's no public participation that's assumed on this. There's no writing down of the land, there's no contributions of other things like that. It's part of our basic assessment. What we do find is that the projects are feasible. So the return on investment is fairly thin. It's 6.5%. Developers typically want about 10%. So you could go out for a request for proposals for development, you can get an interest at 6.5. If you want to get broader interest from more developers, you may need to get some contribution. And that could be something that I'm going to talk to you in this next piece, to get up to 10%. So there's two things that you would need to fund, either aiding through supplementing the development costs with the private developer, or paying for infrastructure. And so the first one that our consultant, our marketing team said, and he's local, that they said you could do tax increment financing. And so again, with the approach here, we've been looking at other local jurisdictions and what the allotment percentages have gone to these kind of projects. It's typically from about 60 to 80%. We've been conservative again, it's at 60%, that you could use to make it more attractive to the private sector. There could be some other things. So we know that it makes DPA feel uncomfortable, and we're not suggesting that they should do that. But if they could get some things that they'd like to see here, maybe a little bit higher density development, and other things like that, there might be a conversation with them. There's no agreement on it, but, it is UK land, and so it's something that we might have to have a little bit more conversation. If this was a deal breaker. And then, the final one you can say is that, the tip would make it more attractive minority at that point. In terms of public infrastructure, if using the TIF to supplement or assist the development community, there would be any, in our view from our consultant to build infrastructure. On the other hand, if you wanted to use the TIF to build infrastructure, you could do that as well, rather than supplementing the private sector and take all that TIF and build sidewalks and bridges, because that's fundamentally a role of TIF as well. There are other sources out there, and these are sort of a Christmas tree approach. We often say you grab a little bit here and there, maybe get a project put together. And so there's some programs that we've identified in here, not a lot of them, frankly. And I think that you get some help, that there really aren't going to build these projects. There's going to have to be some other sources identified. And those sources would have to be identified working with project partners like the Los Angeles Regional Fund and UTIF and your community as well, to figure out how to happen. So, finally, for these projects to move forward, there's some, we call them tweaks to your zoning code and to your general plan that needs to be updated. And so for each of these, I've got three what those need to be done. So, we're fine tuning on this, but we think preliminary things that you need to adjust some of your parking requirements. Allow a little bit lower, and the reason for that is because you're next to a transit station, and people have access to transit. You can choose to do this and not to do this, but what that does is give you a little bit more land to develop rather than build parking lots. And so you can attract a developer to build buildings. And you got right next door another parking lot anyway, right? And it's not all that well utilized often. So maybe there's some rationale to increase or rather lower your parking requirements. And then today, your S1 special use zone is pretty flexible, but again, we've got some parking reductions we'd like to see there. And currently, the density is fairly low for multifamily. Any kind of multifamily is likely to see that increase of about 10 units per acre. The project we're suggesting is about 25 net, and it's only townhomes. So for us to build this, we'd like to see that higher. I think UTA, because of the policy, would like to see that even higher. Their standard for stationary housing is about 50 in the development framework. So I think there's probably a happy medium in there somewhere. 25 seems about right to decide in terms of the market and the compatibility with the adjacent neighborhood as well. So that's something we suggest to do. And then long term, if you do need a park and ride, your light industrial does not allow park and ride in that zone. So that would be something that you need to use. It's conditional. It's probably conditional. I probably suggested a way to go about doing that. And then as part of your general plan, you've got some housing policy, and it's just a table adjustment as well. If you change your S1, you need to add as a conditional or permitted use a multifamily as part of the table. And then there's some restrictions in terms of associated land that you need to dedicate with housing. It's a pretty compact site. It's going to be difficult to do that, so we're suggesting maybe you don't have the additional land requirement as part of that density. So we're getting into the weeds a little bit, but this is something that needs to be adjusted as well. So that's the presentation. A lot to go through there. It's a draft, and they haven't had a time to look at it. And working with Tim, I know he's had some adjustments. Kevin does as well. If you see anything here, we can make those adjustments and finalize it. So that, I'm looking for any comments or questions.
I guess I have a question. All the proposals and all that are going, north. You don't look at taking over the barber shop type space. Why didn't you go that way, which is closer to the station?
A lot of it's conversation with property owners, they're reticent not to do that. Their desire was to keep development as it is today. And so, when we looked at the market, the amount of development we could get, we could get that market to be built on UTA parcels. There wasn't really any essential need to do that. Now, that's not saying that those property owners wanted to come back and redevelop their land. There's certainly, I think, there was a potential for that to happen, but was just honoring their desire not to see development on their side.
And I guess another question, you're putting some townhouses right in the middle of the parking lot and making everybody walk, which in my opinion doesn't make a whole lot of sense.
Yeah.
The new, because nobody walks, we're 50% use of the space, that parking lot is always packed, people are parking on the street. No one wants to walk around the corner, so those are completely empty.
So that's true, because it's human nature. It's like when I go to a Walmart, I wanna get as close to the door as possible. And so what UTA has studied is that, they allow parking lots 1,000 feet away from the station. And our experience working around the nation is that, parking riders will, because remember, people come in at 8 in the morning, they leave at 5, and the car is sitting there. That's prime land to have a car sitting next to the station. And we find that people will walk for a parking ride because it's 2 trips a day, it's essentially a 4-minute walk. And so it's a trade-off.
Right, but what's the advantage to the home?
The advantage is that those townhomes could also be work-live, and you've got people living near the station, eyes on the station, it's safer, it's more transit users, and then we also added retail. So with the retail, we can get a neighborhood amenity, a cafe, a bakery. We can also get things that people chain trips on transit, a dry cleaner. Maybe there's a childcare center there, so you can drop your kids off at the same. So there's some advantages from transit and also from the neighborhood. So it's really trying to combine those two. And so the idea is not to get too much, because this isn't what we say, a prime retail location where you're gonna get a shopping center. So this is neighborhood serving, transit serving, small scale retail. So that's kind of the idea. It's kind of a hybrid.
So if they ever think of putting housing in that parking lot, you're pushing everyone out into the parking lot to the north, if UTA wanted a development there, doesn't it almost make more sense to put it out there, leaving the parking lot closer? Because those people can still walk to the station and still transit.
That's a great suggestion, but the one constraint, the really big constraint there, it's a super fun site.
Okay, it's a super fun site.
Yeah. So you move heaven and earth, it's not to say you couldn't do it, but you wanna see the cost escalate.
Oh, yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, and the other thing too was the concern of keeping the separation we have from hauling and the loading rack to, with residential.
Yeah.
How long for those bikes to be all the super fun stuff?
I don't know, well, they've been eating for a long time.
There's a lot of stuff you, yeah. But there are things you could put on top of the super fun side that are a little bit more amenable. If you wanted this became gangbusters, because I've worked on these before. You need to create a separation. You can't have it inhabited space on that ground level. You could build parking on the ground floor and develop over the top of it. But that's a bigger cost to do something like that.
Really close to the refinery, and the smells from that loading dock.
Yeah, and when we, and I did talk to you about, and it's a little bit, not known exactly, but Holly does have what they call a blast zone. And it's generally, we think, not confirmed, but about 500 feet. So the station's outside of that, but part of that parking lot is within that area. And so that, I think just from in terms of this being a responsible citizen, probably need to be able to honor that and stay away from that area first. Okay. All right. Others, comments, anything you, okay, Ken, anything else for you? Yes?
I don't think so. I think we want to kind of tweak a few things. I think the hope is that, in the near future, that the, planning commission take a look at this and consider making a recommendation that add this plan, with the group of plans that are in the appendices of our general plan, make it part of that. And make a recommendation to the council to consider doing that.
Just from our professional standpoint, if there's one project, there's only one you can do on here. The walking and biking bridges is significant in terms of providing safe, direct, and convenient access to the neighborhoods to the west. And, that seems to me to be a project worth really, sinking your teeth in and doing a feasibility study on it. So, see how it goes after that. I think if you could just say that in the next year or two, that would be one thing to think of. I strongly suggest you do that.
And I think the completion of that would probably open up more of those property owners to the west and maybe buy into the redevelopment of that area to be catered to the station itself.
Yeah, because we have a lot of interest in the long-term bit, the redevelopment of those parcels right now, but that's maybe not to be too punny, but a bridge too far. So I think we need to get that bridge now.
No, I agree.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Any further questions?
Well, I just wanna make sure that, one thing we didn't discuss was the new possibility of a new road down, like you said, 15, 20 years.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But the property owners did express interest in redeveloping if that road was put in. They have, well, they get better access from there for the customers.
Yeah. And we've got a full assessment of that roadway, also within our appendix piece that our current peers effects study. And the idea of that road, for those who didn't know about it, is also give you a ventilation of 500. Because the train track closing, so, your major growth is in the northwest quadrant. And so if you really want to have better connection to I-15, rather than just, over a track delay, that might be something that you might have some conversations with the developers in that area, whether they're willing to contribute to a long-range project that's maybe years out, but not today. But it's in here, it's in the appendix, and if anybody's interested in pursuing that, over time, it's in. And it was, yeah. Okay. All right.
So when will we cover this and 11 foot? And it would cover both railroad tracks?
Can kind of run out and be a connector to the future northwest quadrant.
So it could be two rounds.
Okay.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate it. Okay, item number 13, consideration to approve Westside Industrial Park number 3, amended plat. Tim?
All right, this is down on 2425 South. There's an existing building. The property owners, they wanted to put an addition on this building, and to do so, a couple of years ago, they purchased this property from the city to expand this building project out. And so, they've been to the planning commission. They've actually got a site plan reviewed and approved by the commission for this project, but it's subject to the approval and recordation of an amended subdivision plat to put this project all together. And so, the developer, property owners have put together a plat that actually moves this existing lot, line division between the two properties to this wall, in the project, and then, amend and add this to the plat, for these lots. This is part of, give you an idea of the addition, to the existing building, additional parking, loading dock and landscape, areas. The addition will be done in a manner that matches the existing, building. So this has all been through the commission and approved. So we're down to the final step in this, which is, the subdivision plat, put this project together. The planning commission had recommended it, but with a couple of conditions that needed to be taken care of. One, there were a few minor issues with the city engineer. Those have been taken care of. The other, to make this all work, because it'll be, two separate, parcels that could possibly be under different ownership in the future, there was a need for them to put together a cross-access, agreement, and parking agreement, and stormwater and that. They have now put that together. In fact, that has already been reviewed and approved by Todd Godfrey and the attorney, city attorney's office. So with that, the planning commission recommends that, this West Side Industrial Park, number 3 amended plat, be approved.
Any questions for Jim? Pretty straightforward.
This is, building, was there some of the plans, already put in, or?
We're gonna add on.
So it's gonna, what is the meaning of doing now?
Well, we've got a representative of, the property owner, developer here from Tom Stewart Construction. Maybe we'll let them answer. This is, Roy,
Yeah, Wahlberg.
I'm sorry, you know, we've been working together for months.
Yeah.
Your name jumped out of my head.
I'm Roy Wahlberg, the applicant. So you're at a question about the tenants in the building?
Well, yeah, 'cause this is, there's no other building that would put two, mesh two together, right? But still at the same time, this would be a unique situation, right?
It's pretty much a condominiumized flat, so
Right.
it will be, the building will be one large building, but will have a permanent dividing wall down the middle. So separate properties, separate tenants.
And so it just, various tenants within that building,
Correct.
and what type of activities are in?
Right now, the existing building, there's already 4 tenants in there, and then the addition, the tenant that is going through there is a company operating in North Salt Lake currently. They just build, planter boxes. They do custom planter boxes for malls, for people's homes. They're just made out of aluminum, metal, steel. They can stand independently, or they can be anchored to a wall, and then people can fill with dirt.
So they would take the whole building, the plan on.
They are taking
the
the whole
entire
space,
building.
yes.
Okay.
And then just give that much more space and space for the parking, that's what they need to push the building together.
Yeah, it was a more efficient use of the property,
Because if, yeah, if we built a new building on that piece of property, then there would, with the easement and with the access around the building, it would be small footage.
If there's no other questions, I will call for a motion then to, approve the West Side Industrial Park number 3 amendment plat.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Fine.
Aye.
Okay,
Thank you very much.
we appreciate it. Thanks for your patience in sitting through all this.
Yeah. Hasn't been my longest city council.
Oh, good.
Well, feel free to stick around.
And we're happy to approve my kids. Thank you.
Thank you.
He has to fold his money.
Okay, item number 14, Jess.
All right. So, in the packet that was prepared, I provided you with our existing regulations as well as the existing fees and some, background information about our surrounding areas, fees, and then my proposed regulations.
and that hasn't been a problem for us. But there is always a chance that somebody could make a deposit and the check would bounce and damage the room, and then we could potentially be out money.
Stay with Bitcoin.
No, we don't need it. So I guess technically all forms of payment is not accurate. So that, you know, really what I try to do as I work through the existing room rental regulations is update where I see needed, but not make a real hard line policy. I think our residents treat the room that we have with respect and are good stewards of that. And so I know how I feel sometimes when I get a copy of a contract and it seems extra punitive, you know. But I'm happy to go that route if you guys would like me to. So in item number 7, do we need to say also gambling is not allowed except for the team?
Bingo.
So really the largest issue that I got feedback from the ladies at the front desk was that people would request to use the room to sell goods or services. And so specifically calling that out, I think will help.
So like having a vote speaker.
Yeah, like yeah, those types of things,
So we're not allowed.
yeah. And then,
That's what our.
yeah, we don't allow,
That's right. You wanna start something?
well, indoor swap. I tried to, call out some of the more frequent or problematic prohibited items. And then, you know, make sure that policies would fit both buildings. I didn't feel like we needed a separate policy for each building at this point. I do, however, welcome your feedback in terms of whether we think it would be best to have a city staff person, at the multi-purpose room at the new city shop, when we rent that out. We installed televisions in there now. When we get the blinds in there, it's got more expensive appliances. I think in some regards it might make more sense to have, have a person there, kind of keep an eye on things, which may change the rate that we charge. And the deposit frankly may be too low on that room, given the amount of equipment that could potentially be damaged if somebody isn't good stewards of the room.
Well, that's such a larger room.
It's very unique.
I can see that it might, more people might wanna be using them.
Right.
A wedding,
Yeah, and,
but I guess I don't wanna say that someone's gotta be out there. I mean, they just need a deposit.
I kinda like the idea that somebody is here, if you get out of control, police are 20 feet away. You get a little out of control. Down there, you would have no clue that anything is going on. So I think maybe the rental is the same, and there's also, $25 an hour,
security fee.
yeah, I mean, if you rent the school, the custodian's there, and that's.
So like a security fee, for after business hour rental, and that would be to pay for somebody to just kind of hang out.
So would we have like an officer who's on duty, or would we have a public works employee?
That, you know, I'm open to both. I guess I need to talk with the department heads.
She was thinking council members.
I love.
Well, you don't get paid for it.
Read a book.
Yeah, we don't get paid.
You love land research.
Yeah, you wouldn't have to change the rate if it was us, right?
The planning commission too.
There you go. Yeah, that's the rotation.
Well, the planning
And the
commission
job
is paid by the
description.
union, so.
Oh, okay.
And if it is,
We could
here you have
volunteer committee.
the rate for Woodsboro City elected officials and employees, obviously that wouldn't apply.
So as I looked at our current fee schedule, we had about 7 different deposits, and I know when people come in to reserve our existing rooms, we at the front desk always have to do kind of an analysis of like, which category this person fits in. So I tried to simplify it by just simply having a resident, non-resident fee for each room, and then the withdrawal for the elected officials and employees fee for each
Oh,
room.
I was thinking, we probably should add city volunteers to that, like the senior lunch fund.
So I put them up above as the community of promise organizations that.
Well, I mean, like, if they, for them, if they wanted to do something private, like have a baby shower or whatever. When our volunteers get, okay, so they don't get the same privilege.
I guess I'm opening it up to you as a council.
I don't think we have to charge them the security fee, but if they decide to have a baby shower there.
Well, I'm talking about like this room here. Would that, cause.
So are they having a private baby shower, or are they having?
Yeah, I get, we'll just say it's a baby shower. Just make this much easier.
So you're just saying.
So say like Doris's daughter wants to have a baby, and she wants to have a baby shower at the city building, okay? Would she have to pay a fee because she does so much volunteering for the city, or would we include her?
So under the proposed guidelines, she would have to pay a fee. But I'm not opposed to opening it up to volunteers, but I think volunteers for the city is hard to define.
Okay. So maybe our community of promise volunteers or something like that. Does that define it better?
Well, that's government organization.
Yeah, but the
It's a private one.
It's the function, not the, the function, not the.
It's defining who employees are, and Julie said we should expand that out to our volunteers. And I think the issue is how do we define that? We have volunteers at different levels.
Right.
So,
That would mean that somebody in the city council would have a rave party down there.
And invite you.
Invite me.
And yet technically our youth city council, each city council member will be considered a volunteer.
Okay.
It's just, that is a really hard thing to define.
Very nice, so that's.
Another change that I made was, we had the rental period set at 2 hours, and then each additional hour was a set amount. I changed it to 3-hour block and increased the amount a little bit. I feel in most part, people were probably staying over the 2 hours, but we weren't getting any additional revenue for that, so bumping it to 3 hours was probably more realistic.
I guess I have a question. If I wanna have a baby shower, because I would really like.
Well, you might have babies, correct?
I know, but I guess my question is, just because I sit on the city council, I'm not sure that I should be entitled to having the room for free. There are certain things you do, Rad, that's maybe a little bit different. But if I just wanted to have a family party, I'm not sure that city officials or employees should just automatically be able to rent that for free.
Well, it wouldn't be that one, so we just, only this room is free. We would have to pay $250 if we wanted to rent a new
it's a
shop.
big room, yeah.
So
We have to
this
bring.
small room, the multi-purpose room, is no charge, but if we wanted to do the shop that's on here, we would have to pay $250.
And that's the cleaning cost, right?
No, that's the rental fee, and then you pay the deposit on top of that. See what the private function.
Okay.
My auditor senses this when we know.
Yeah, you look like you have a question.
I do, I wonder if this is in violation of the, section 10 of the code.
In terms of allowing free rental?
Yeah.
I'll look into that.
The use of, or, no, the use of government property for, Yeah. I mean, my auditor,
I'm gonna bring this up in my fire district report, but the room up at Station 51, they've never charged for it. And they get HOA people up there having their HOA meetings, they have dance clubs, they've got Miss Davis County's doing the preliminary pageant and judging up there. I mean, everybody's just been taking advantage of it, so we just passed that, now it's other than government agencies, so Bountiful City can still have their city council meetings there while they're remodeling. They're charging $10 an hour. And it might be just a little bit bigger than our normal for this room back here. So I don't know if we wanna make, would we wanna make things?
Yeah, how much, yeah.
You know what I mean? But
Do we
we
wanna
also
make
have to make
plans?
sure that we're covered, as far as our expenses, you know.
Yeah, that's a little different than my question, is I think that we gotta follow the purpose that it's being used for.
So you like the nonprofit business private function?
Right, nonprofit business and the private function. And I don't know that I would ever charge a difference between the nonprofit, you know, governmental organizations and stuff, that's typical in a government building, there would be, you know, charge.
So the government organizations and the community promise organizations, that's about who are going to charge.
Yeah,
No charge.
and that's typical, you see, like that is typical. Yeah. The rest, I think, is just follow the purpose. Of what it's being used for.
So oftentimes that is not easy to determine.
Darn.
Which is,
Well, you just have to invite someone to every one, and the treats are good, and they're fine, it's fine. And you're right, there is a, other than whoever's, you know, giving you the check, or giving you the payment, or.
So I'm happy to look into the state code and make sure we're not running afoul of,
Giving the elected officials employees, right?
correct.
But, you know, I think that as long as it's in an established policy, I think it's probably okay. You know, if it's not an established policy, then it's got problems, but we can change that.
Yeah, certainly. My only concern for RAD, maybe we should look at adding RAD to our community program, I don't know. When I teach RAD kids, that's every 5 weeks in a row. And you have a 3-hour maximum per week for a nonprofit, for 3 hours.
well, we have under the proposed, it'd be, per week.
Right. Yeah, so that would,
Right, you would exceed.
yeah, it's already very difficult. And then when I teach RAD women, I usually do a Friday night, Saturday morning, and it's a total of 6 hours, 3 hours classes. But I also teach with another resident, so there's 2 of us, so would we count that as 2 nonprofit people together, like?
And then you both have to go.
Yeah.
No, it's an event site. Well,
Right, yeah, yeah.
it's an event site.
So, and so if I'm understanding clearly, Julie, are you also suggesting to go back to private business and nonprofit categories? Or, because under the proposed, it's simply residents, non-residents, elected officials, employees.
Probably include, do we have any other nonprofit people that use the building? I mean, I'm never gonna be using the city shop, it would always be,
We don't have the statistics on what people have been using it. The majority, I would say, is people who are wanting to use it for a missionary luncheon, or a baby shower, or a family birthday party, or, you know, those types of things, or it's probably the majority.
If it brings cake.
I think we had some preschool graduations in that room in spring. Yeah.
We've had the leadership core, Wings Cross High School, come down and do their trainings and stuff, you know, the new elected officers and stuff.
And that would fall under a government organization though, right?
Yeah.
School district government, so
Yeah, that was all.
you could squeeze those guys, but
$40, but that covers the cost of their book and we provide food and water during the training, 3 hours of physical. For 2 out of 3 classes, so we provide them something to eat, we don't have one passed out on. So, we don't make money at all, and with Rad Kids, the sheriff was supporting our program, but now we have a new sheriff and I haven't been able to meet with him yet, so right now, my foundation, the Rad Women Utah, is paying for Rad Kids. So, and we get a grant from the commissioner, we pay the county commissioner, and that's what helps fund Rad Kids during the year. So I provide books and snacks based off of that grant.
Which, by the way, the commission will be on to have more commissioners troubles. Because they didn't feel comfortable giving other people's money away. If they're gonna do a grant, they're gonna do their own money. So they basically have the commissioners try to get sponsors to come in with their money so they could give it away and take credit.
But, well, then we would have to go and sit at the
Yes.
golf course during the
I
tournament
know,
and meet people up so we could thank them
yeah.
for their donations. But, well, that screws my program.
No, they're still gonna have the grant.
Oh, are they? Okay.
But you're gonna have to go before the commission
Okay.
and petition.
All right. Well, and I've been really grateful that Woods Cross City has been so gracious to let me, because I have looked at rates, and, you know, it's expensive to rent rooms, and that has been one thing you guys have really been awesome at letting me use the building. And we have had kids who have stopped people from hurting them. I mean, we've had success stories. I've had parents who contacted me, we've had a couple little girls who were being touched inappropriately, and they knew what to do and stopped it. And so I know it's making a difference for our youth kids. So,
Could we possibly just put that under the huge umbrella of the adults? That created a problem.
I think that's the most logical choice.
Yeah.
There's more meetings that come.
I'd be totally okay with that.
I think you have to do something like that, it's an approved
And it's a
city,
community.
or, because I worry about someone doing the exact same thing, well, the hours that you're
Right.
talking about, but white supremacists,
Right.
or whatever, you're letting Rad do this, they don't fall under any of these.
Yeah.
So I should be entitled to the same right.
But if we call it something different, because the city purchased the equipment.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that if we could put them under there, that community organization and city council approve
Community project.
community, whatever, so if that white supremacist wants to come before our meeting and say, we want you to kind of get the support of the city, this is a program the city is supporting because the city's funding it.
Right.
And they bought the stuff.
Yeah.
So I think if you tie that in there, I'm okay with that. And I don't really care how many hours are there or whatever, because it's a city-sponsored event program, where if somebody else is, going back to white supremacists, is not being sponsored and supported by the city. I don't think we could prevent them from renting it at the normal rate, but we don't have to give them any advantage.
I think the best way to do it would be to put Rad under community promise. Because if you start differentiating and having the city council say yes or no that it's approved, then you're gonna run into a problem like the pride flags up in Heber City. They had a policy, they went up, but then if people looking at it saying, well, why are they approving, why are they not approving? But if it's part of a city organization, then it's, so I don't know what that does, because right now you're set up as a nonprofit or however you're set up.
Yeah.
There's some logistics to,
Well, Continue Mission is
Yeah,
part.
Continue Mission is a
Continue Mission is
nonprofit.
part of our community process, they're nonprofit.
So I think you could fit it under.
okay,
I think so too.
I think, but, notice that there are others that might fit that criteria, but I think we need to be very definitive about what is sponsored and supported by the city. those two, I certainly would be happy to put that in. Now, this, and as always, I don't know what's gonna happen here, but the schools are starting to really have to look at what they sponsor and what they support. And in answer to the changes in the school fees, which is my life right now, but, that there are a lot of nonprofit organizations that are being, we are looking that they, if they're not in arm's length, so supported, then they have to actually waive or fall under the rules of the guys. We require that if the kids are eligible, they have to waive their fees to do that. So a lot of, school or scout organizations and a lot of nonprofits that I think, we meet with a lot of them on Thursday morning, are now, the schools, in order to answer to that, so they don't have to cover the cost of administering the programs, they're saying, well, you're a community use, we're gonna charge you a fee, so they can get out from under, so I think there may be pressure for more use of our facilities, because they're kind of getting pushed out by the schools. Or they're having to pay the normal civic use fees for the schools. So I think that might come, it might be, so I think we need to be aware of that, but I like the idea of putting RAD and the city supported and sponsored, and we can put the definition of that.
I would say that the definition of a community of promise organization, that's an organization that's coming to the monthly meeting, that's, coordinating with the community of promise, that's how I would define that.
And I think it's something also to Matt's point, that we as a council, we support and we want to, sponsor, and when you say sponsor, exactly, we're going to use the building for each other.
So, Tammy, just so I'm clear, are you saying that you would like community of promise organizations and council sponsored organizations?
I don't know, I just would leave it as community promise.
Okay.
But in that definition, what is a community, community promise, how is that? Because to me, community promise is an organization, how is it set up or ordinance? Is it set up as
It was part of, it was.
volunteer? I don't think it's part of our ordinance, we don't refer to it anyway. Yeah, I don't think it's referred to anyway. So I
Yeah,
don't-
Bruce and Judy Care originally.
Yeah,
set it up.
exactly, but it's not defined in our ordinance.
Yeah, I don't know if it's defined.
It's not defined in our ordinance.
No.
So I think we might have to define it in our ordinance. I'm okay with the promise title, and just say this is something that we as a city, for the common good of the residents, and for safety or whatever, I can find language to go on, or,
Okay, good catch.
cause, I could share with you what the supported sponsor needs in schools. But I think that's something, we could do. That gives us the leeway to accept anyone that has meetings or whatever, but it also keeps it away from having to just approve anybody.
Okay, so I guess I'm back to residents, non-residents, or nonprofit, business, private.
Well, business, if you allow that, you kind of say, but you yet would say, no, you can't run a business in there, so that's kind of.
But it's saying that I'm not gonna sell.
Buy or sell, it's one of the business meetings.
We're gonna have a company party here.
Company party, but.
I don't know.
I think that's fine, as long as they're not. So we run into a situation with the book club. So they'll get a local author come in, and by our ordinance, they're not allowed to sell their books. So they step out the door, they exchange money in the parking lot, and then, so, you know what I mean? So, there's a workaround. There's a workaround, but I wanna be able to accommodate, so for example, if we have Clark Burbidge coming, and he's authored several books, and he comes and he wants to, so he came to our, to one of the book club meetings, and he gave the women all of one of his books, and then he sold the other books at a discounted rate, like $3.50 off of Amazon, charging that type of thing. And so, but how do you justify that in the regulations? That's my question. Because they try to get local authors at all
community of promise organization, or, yeah, sponsored events. Cause that's what sponsors look like.
That goes back to supporters were sponsored by the community promise, and if we define that, I mean, I don't think you're gonna foul me, you know, with sales tax, then be careful, make sure that the nexus is with the person selling it,
Right.
So you'd like us to carve out a niche?
With the exception of
Just
the
so
community
that-
promise organization.
Yeah, just so she doesn't feel like she's
Breaking
breaking
the
the
rule,
rules.
I think it's gonna have, it's coming up with, literacy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
So, and then we can better define the community promise or something.
Okay, I'm happy to add that language to the resolution.
So if we do that, then I'm okay with us putting it as residents and non-residents.
Okay.
Simplifying the fee.
Yeah, I can simplify it, because right now, the women in the front counter have such a hard time figuring, this way it'll be so much easier.
Yeah, it'll be a lot easier.
It will be a lot easier.
Collect and influence, yeah, decide what to do.
How do you feel about where the rates are being proposed for?
That's where I'm kind of having a little heartburn on, I could see just doubling the fees for down there, but some of these are. You tell me, do we need $400 for a cleaning fee or $250?
I think 400 might be low, and that cleaning deposit is refundable.
That's
right.
But it's for us, to recoup damages, so we have 2 brand new TVs down there, the blind system is gonna be really expensive, you have brand new
Maybe
appliances.
you call it,
that get
instead of cleaning deposit, you call it
security.
cleaning, security deposit, or cleaning/damage deposit, or something, so that it's not just cleaning.
Yeah, I'll do cleaning slash,
But they could clean up
Security.
the broken
Well,
TV really easy. and-
we might do security if we're putting a person down.
Yeah, I would do
Yeah.
security deposit.
Well, I don't think it's,
Well, that's
it's not a deposit, it's
They're
security.
not getting that back.
Setting fees,
They're not
they
getting that
have
back.
cleaning damages deposit.
Cleaning, damage,
Cleaning and
deposit,
damages.
and
And
security,
which is refundable.
after hours, non-refundable
Right, after hours,
security.
non-refundable security. Kind of, we haven't, Gary and I worked through what to charge for the room down there.
I think $250 is fair for that large of a place.
Cause we figured people would do recessions and stuff,
That's
That's
a
a
free
steal.
deal.
That's a
Free.
steal.
Yeah.
Well, for here, $250, that's what we have 400 for down there.
No, we have to
When you're
keep the
talking
rental
about just
fee.
to rent it.
The rental fee is $250
Oh,
for
for
3
3 hours.
Yeah, I think that's a steal.
Cause we figured, if you're renting that room down there, it's because you're gonna hold an event that's going to have 100 people.
Yeah.
And there are very few things that probably fit into that category. And so if you're gonna have an event, to be able to host an event for $250,
Or you can have 10 kids and put a bounce house in there.
Mayor is planning the 21st century.
And I do the, I'm sure a lot of you, the
VRBO.
VRBO. I mean, refundable damage deposit is kind of expected, and it's expensive. So if I'm doing the budget, trying to think of, I need to have my baby shower here, if I have to put $500 on my credit card that has a hole, it's not the end of the world, I'm getting it back, and I expect that. Because you're not replacing those great big TVs for $500.
no, and that's why I wonder if 400 is too low.
Well, I think you should go even 5, because you're not taking the money from them, you're just exerting it.
Well, and then people are gonna be sure
Right, you're
they
watching your
take care of
kid.
it, yeah, they don't just run them up because
They're not gonna take that off.
they're not gonna jump from downtown. But they'll put them more in the center of the room.
I would go at least 500, and I don't think that's gonna run anybody off.
So,
Mayor's renting one, and the cotton candy machine, right?
purple.
Purple?
You can do any color, any flavor.
Alright, we've got a proposal to change the cleaning slash damages deposit at the new city shop to 500. Everybody feel comfortable with that?
Yes.
Are you guys comfortable about leaving it in here at 250?
That hasn't changed, that's what we currently charge.
Right, and I'm just wondering if
walls and walls.
So much in there.
It's the carpet and walls, I guess if somebody really wanted to damage bathrooms, they could, but we, you know, I put in the regulations, we reserve the right to remove anything above, if you really go to town.
Okay, so you have something in there that says,
Yeah.
you could, if you vandalize the place,
We reserve the right.
that's the.
And then I think
that's different.
I think payment should be credit card only. Credit card or cash.
Credit card or cash?
Because then you have their card number.
And you want cash.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if you got your cash, the way we receive it in is we keep the deposit on a schedule and then.
Well, I'm saying for, if we have to come back and charge them more, we have access to their card where we can charge them. And if we accept
No.
cash,
Okay, all right. I'm sorry. I'm just thinking of the deposit. They bring a check in, you just keep it, they just give it back to them.
No, no, we are required by the auditors to.
You have to
Deposit
deposit
it,
it, and then
yeah,
you reissue
deposit.
the check.
Okay, so, but if we take a credit card, there's a fee to that and a fee to refund.
Well, we would take the payment and I would put it
Rerun
on my
it.
schedule and then we would send them a check after their event concluded.
You would send a check with
and
the
then they
cost
put
of
it on
that.
their card.
What's the cost of sending a check?
Well, if they paid with credit card, and if you're saying the $500, they paid with credit card for $500,
And we're paying $10 a night for the
then we,
credit card.
right, we run the credit card, and then we cut them a check, go back, so
Yeah.
we do lose out doing it that way, and we do some money.
But if we send them a check, then we're missing the cost of the check and it's down.
Yep, that could come out of the rental fee.
No, and that was
$250
more
for
than
rental
that.
fee.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm only anticipating you issuing a refund check like 8 times a year, I'm sorry.
No,
See that?
We actually give, we refund them for the first
So
one.
that's-
most of them.
I think those charges should be included in the rental fee, I mean,
Yeah,
that's
and
part of
then-
the rental fee, right?
Let's put a net in there.
Well, no, I just,
I'm sorry, net. No, I appreciate it.
So what is the current credit card, is like 2 or 3%, isn't it?
So $500 would be about $12.50 if we're.
And I think a lot of people, in a lot of those places though, is if you put the deposit on the card, they expect it to go back on the card, if you don't want your card to bounce. I don't wanna wait for a check, and now my Discover card is $500 more, knowing that I'm gonna get $500 back later.
But you have to make your deposit at the time you make your reservation, so we have people that have reserved into December.
Right.
So they
And
would
they
already
don't
paid
use
it
it till
off.
August, so it's sitting on their card for 8 or 9
Well, they
months.
would,
Well,
Yeah, it's not a hold, it's a, it's
the
a
extra
cash
years
money.
you were,
It goes through.
just
We,
like,
I mean,
gone.
this is rough.
I think it's okay to do it that way, you know what, if they wanna rent the room, that's how it happens.
You think it's.
They don't
okay-
have to rent the room.
Right.
You think
I think
it's.
I think
okay to
it's-
do it what way?
I think it's fine to cut a check back.
I would put that in here.
I think you just say, deposit will be refunded by check. And if they don't wanna do it that way, then they can go somewhere else.
Right, I don't care.
So do you all feel the same way about only having deposits paid by cash or credit card? We have not had any issues with residents paying by check, and that's actually how the majority of the people pay their deposits, they pay by check. But
But you make them come in to do it?
yeah, because they have to
You
fill
have
out
to
the
check.
form.
You got
Oh,
it.
okay.
And then we pass the check, and so it would only really catch us if we had somebody that came in and paid a deposit like the day of, or,
Okay.
and then have their event, and then it bounced.
And then they trash it.
Yeah, and they crashed.
What do you guys think about is if you put it in there, I don't wanna get too complicated, but all payments within 7 days of the activity must be done
Cash or card.
cash or card. If they come in in December and say, here's a check,
Yeah,
You're gonna deposit it, you'll know.
yeah, you know if you're good, but I think if you make that as a disclaimer that all transactions done within 7 days of the activity, or 2 weeks, or whatever.
Well, and we're not usually cutting checks for refunds until about a week or two after the event. So we would catch it on that end too.
Yeah. That's a good idea.
I like putting that in, yeah. Just as a safety net, because sometimes banks will try and clear a check multiple times before they return it back to you, and that can take longer than.
Okay, so I have it for reservations that will, for events that will be held within 7 days, must be made by, cash or credit card, yeah.
Are you happy with 7 days, or you wanna go 2 weeks? Doesn't matter to me.
10 days.
Reservations made within 23.5 days.
10 is probably. Yeah. 10 calendar,
Yes.
10 calendar days.
Right.
Okay.
That way it's up front.
Okay, I
We
can
could
add that in
reduce
there.
our risk.
All right, any other,
That's worse.
right?
No, thank you for doing
Are we
this,
good?
I'm sure.
If you're okay with it, I'll clean it up and then we can look at it once more before we adopt it. We'll have to
Okay.
amend our fee schedule once we get into this current company.
So you get the mayor's $500?
The mayor's $500?
For what?
For parties.
I'm all for my
Well,
down.
no, more.
That's not till January. I can wait till Christmas.
Yeah, but did you pay the bill?
Sure.
Thank you for your time.
That's how we made it easier for you.
Yeah.
No.
We're getting closer.
Okay. Item number 15. Discussions regarding RFP for zone code update. I guess this is Jim, right?
Yep. All right, I put together a RFP for the zoning ordinance, for code update, that we are planning on, putting out here, shortly. If, you know, I guess if you got any comments for that, we'd incorporate those, the questions you have. This is a process that will have a lot more moving parts to it than doing the general plan or a rail station study, because you're into
I had some-
the regulations
Yeah.
of land use by this time. We're not talking broad ideas and plan concepts.
I had some concerns with some of the proposed ordinance changes he mentioned.
Yeah.
But I think once we go through this and have a chance to discuss them, I think we come up with a new zone code.
That earned shot.
Well, no doubt that, you know, things we're looking at is bringing up to date, you know, some of the standard chapters like, you know, conditional use and site plan and landscaping and updating those, but, you know, the big items are taking a look at specific land use regulations for zones and new zones, maybe throwing out, some of the zones.
Have
that
a
we
zombie zone, for people who want to live on the EPA.
So, and even talk about, you know, the possibility of using some form-based zoning, you know, the northwest quadrant or different things, and making maybe it a little more, usable, a lot of the newer codes have illustrations and different things in them that, make it more user-friendly than.
Do we think it's gonna cost as much as the general plans update?
It could be more, you know, because again, this is, well, it's detailed, and really what we need to do is come up with a process with whoever we choose to bring this along, and involve the commission and the planning commission along the way. We don't wanna be working over here in a vacuum and then, you know, here it is, let's adopt it, guys, and then, yeah, we'll go off in 10 different directions or spend a whole lot of time bogged down,
We want to make sure that it's legally sound as well, so that's gonna be the cost of attorney
Right.
review it.
Right, and we've talked to Marvell that, we're going to need a little more attention than, you know, we usually get, on projects.
I've seen his desk this week, and I don't know if he can handle it for him.
I know, he's got several things he owes me that he actually got, some of them to me today. Cause I know we've had him busy on a lot of other stuff, so.
So Tim, when they come out, they come out with a flat dollar saying no matter what it takes, here's what we'll do it for? Or do they, is there a lot of, if I have to add a focus group, I get to add another $5,000, if I have to do this, I add this? Is there kind of an hourly rate?
Well,
How do you tie that all?
well, what we're asking is that they do it for a fixed amount in there. And maybe as we work through the RFP process, it might be necessary to, depending on, their experience and different things, maybe think about.
Yeah, I just didn't know how that worked with something like this that is very, we're trying to get a lot of feedback and that we may wanna take it a different direction.
Mm-hmm.
And if we haven't put it in the RFP, you have to look at a train zone, then okay, we're gonna end up paying more because now they're writing a train zone that's not discussed in the RFP. I just wonder how we make sure
Well, I think
that they stay focused the whole way through on whatever we wanted to.
so when we go through their presentations, we'll probably narrow it down to 2 or 3 like we've done in the past, right? They'll come in and do their presentation before selection board, and we'll just include that in their scope.
Well, we kind of did some of that with the general plan, or in the past with other projects where you kind of, set some of that out during that.
So you're pretty comfortable with that $50,000?
That's a pretty conservative figure,
I
actually.
think it's conservative.
Yeah.
I would be very surprised if you could even come in under that.
Yeah,
I am, quite frankly,
I would agree with you, I think 50,000 is probably low on it.
really low ball.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is a lot more work than coming up with planning concept and general plan. So.
You want us to up that amount?
I think if you think it's conservative, I think we leave it there and then see what they come back at. Do we?
Which may have some that just don't respond at all, because they
Yeah,
feel like they can't cover for that, so
Yeah.
I take the time.
I'm afraid what we're going to get is they'll come in and say, we can't get you what you want, here's what we can do.
Do you need to put a maximum on it? I mean,
Just put that for RFP, let them come back, one might come in at 48,
We don't need to put a dollar amount.
I would say, leave it blank and see what they come back, I mean, we could be totally shocked if they come back to $120,000. You know what I mean, or we could be pleasantly pleased and see 30,000.
I'm not sure we'll see that one.
I'm wondering if we're limiting ourselves.
Yeah, well, if you leave the number off of there, I'm pretty much guarantee you nothing under 50. Now, what that does is gives you the opportunity to pick the firm that you probably feel is going to be the best, and you can negotiate, the price down. Maybe they've got a bunch of open houses or, focus sessions or this or that, and you just say, no, we don't, just cut some of those out. So,
The other thing is if everybody comes in and one company comes in 50,000, but we don't like them, are we gonna?
no, we're not.
I don't wanna be bound saying, well, you guys are the only ones that we can afford, so we have to go with them. I prefer to leave it out and just see where it comes in.
Don't we have a rate, talking about rate valuation?
I think you let them come back with what they think it's gonna cost to do it, and if they're too high, then we advertise, or, then we go back to them and say, yeah, there's no way we can do it for that, we're gonna have to pare it back, or I just worry that if you put something in there, you're gonna limit your responses. And
we might get a really good firm that we want, that won't send in the RFP.
Maybe we pull that language out and then basically put some language in there that says that we will negotiate.
And over on the page where it talks about proposal, evaluation, we say the RFP evaluation committee will select the firm that submits the most responsive proposal. Selection will be based on overall strength of each proposal, and the evaluation is not restricted to considerations of any single factor such as cost. We've got in there. Yeah. And then criteria and guidelines, not limited to, and then we listed, some things there.
We've asked for a cost analysis too.
And there is one other spot where you say that the city reserves the right to evaluate the contents of proposals submitted in response to this RFP and to select consultant if any.
Yeah.
So we're not required to, I mean, we could get all of them and go, yeah, that's just way out of the ballpark, we can't either rethink this, or rethink it and either limit our scope or something to get it down to where we're comfortable with something we can afford.
Yeah,
And I think they need to give us a price of what they will exceed.
Right.
And then we may go back and negotiate and say, well, yeah, we limit the number of open houses or the number of this or something to reduce it if we need to, but I don't wanna leave us open-ended at all. Got a bad taste in my mouth of leaving us open-ended.
Oh, this is too soon. Too soon.
You'll have a little twitch.
Just you said that.
I didn't know that, I thought that, she does not allow for those kinds of contracts.
So, I think we need to have a real nice, this is our price, and that's our guarantee, we'll do it for that. And then we go back, if it's, if we're still too high, then we go back and negotiate.
Yeah,
I agree.
okay, we can change that language. Because Tim and I have discussed it, and what we're asking there for them to do, I think 50,000 is not a whole lot, because there's a lot that needs to be done. So.
Now, we're sending this out, and if I was a firm and wanted to evaluate this, I want to look at your ordinances and what's that. So we're looking for a 22-day, looks like we're close to deadline, exactly when we're going to come in and evaluate what needs to be done.
Well, we could give them a little more time in there if you'd like on that, they will, they're gonna take a look, get online, take a look at our general plan, look through our present zoning, and, they usually make a few phone calls and ask me questions.
Actually, I think we could probably get this out of the door quicker than you know.
Maybe get it to the last week in June, and I don't wanna push it back, I don't really.
Yeah,
But if we could get it out just a little sooner, just give them a few more days to do the evaluation.
Yeah.
We can get out before too long, because I think all we need to do is massage the price of that.
Yeah.
We're ready to go.
Okay.
So we could probably get it out next week, first of next week. Give them another week.
Any other questions or concerns? Okay, item number 16, safety and accountability.
No incidents during the month of May. We did fall down a little bit on our safety meetings and topics trained, but departments are going to do them this month. So, since there were no incidents, no plus or minus points, so the teams stayed the same. So we got one more month, and then we've already drafted for the new teams for the next fiscal.
Oh, you have?
Oh, yeah.
And we weren't a part of that?
Sorry.
Sorry, we didn't.
Crafty, that was fun.
Nobody even brought shit.
I think we should have broadcast it live. What kind of trade packages were there?
Got a few free agents.
Sparky, take that.
We did not get picked up, no, we did not.
I'm gonna take this person first, but I'll trade him.
I will admit that the office people did get picked up first.
Oh, did you keep the percentage though?
I think pretty much, we didn't follow a strict,
Oh,
but I think it's pretty even. All-
okay,
Well,
well,
nobody has seen those extension cords going out behind the desk to the wall, right? And walking.
we'll have to review the keys, make sure that they are appropriate.
Yeah, but at the office, people got picked up first.
Oh, yeah. Paper cuts.
Okay, thanks, Barry.
Okay, that's-
And I guess we'll get the updated teams and everything, for the first one in July.
Yeah.
We're gonna have our awards lunch / safety training on July 10th, I think.
July 10th.
Oh, go ahead.
What if we-
Yeah, so anybody that would like to come and celebrate safety, please come to the police department's going to put on a run, high five, fight high.
Whichever you want.
They're on YouTube. That's training for us that day, and then we'll have lunch, and we'll have something to enjoy for the
I choose run.
Me too, I choose run too. So July 10th at noon. Okay. So if you can join us, we'd love to have you.
At noon, right?
Yep,
Masson's gotta have a pretty good month.
I don't think that is coming back.
Either that,
Sorry, Sam.
either that, or BS squared and Scott have gotta have a bad month.
Well, there's only 11 days, then.
Well, that's still fine.
Yeah.
All it takes is one incident.
Or a whole bunch of reports.
Without the proper reporting, or, you know.
They could be sandbagging all these recordings.
Right at the end.
Right.
It's been fun, and I think it's been a great tool to help focus our city culture on safety and the importance of safety. And
Been well
we
worth
want
it.
everybody to go home to their families at night.
Even though the families don't want them to.
Sometimes we don't like it.
At least you're safe.
Good day at work,
Maybe.
bad day at work, better, good day at home.
And certain training, you gotta find.
Work.
Okay. On to another open session, so, Dixie, you're up.
Dixie Week, Florida Gate West, Governor's Way, Wisconsin. Mr. Stevens, I'm really happy to see that you got something in there about water conservation. That's awesome.
Oh.
Mm-hmm. And Mr. Yurt and Ms. Checkett using reusable water bottles. Yeah. Now, the question is, do they have Wisconsin water?
Oh, this one does.
Good deal, good deal, Gary.
On my fridge.
There's the tap.
This is the one with stuff water.
Listening to that front runner guy, and I can't pronounce his name, but I just gonna say, you know, he used at least 4 dirty words in that presentation. Number one, oh, one more thing, Mayor, that shirt is really hot and
Isn't
sexy.
that nice?
On the record, please.
You are really gonna show up in the video, so if you think you're gonna run for governor or something.
No, this is just the first shirt I grabbed out of my closet.
It even beats out Tammy's, drink one. Up here. From out the audience. Anyway, the first dirty word was refinery, okay. The second dirty word was PUD.
The first word was what, sorry?
Refinery.
Yeah.
The second one was PUD, because I live in one. The third one was the Superfund site, and the fourth one, the really naughty word, was dry cleaning plant. You talked about putting a dry cleaning plant over here.
No, dry cleaners, they don't have the plant there, you just take your clothes there.
Yeah, but what are they doing with that wastewater, that waste
They're
chemical?
sending it to North South.
You're sure? You're sure?
A lot of them don't process it on site anymore, they get it and ship it off to a place where they process it, and it's just a facility where they accept clothing and distribute.
And that's the only thing we're gonna accept,
Well,
drain the
I'm
water
not-
off.
I agree that it's a dirty word, okay?
Okay.
But the
And
one
that's the
that,
only thing you're gonna allow to be planned in there, is the kind where they don't hold in that crap.
well, none of this is approved, so these were just
These are
ideas.
just ideas.
But,
Well, don't let me use that
you
word.
missed a dirty word,
Which one?
HOA.
Oh, yeah. I thought that's the same thing as a PUD.
No, and the HOA might happen in a PUD,
We are a PUD and HOA.
but,
And another dirty word was increasing our kind He put it in anyway.
speaking of new neighbors, you guys already knew that they're putting in a meth lab.
I'm at the dog clinic.
I'm at the dog clinic over there.
She told me we're at the
What's the address?
Over in the mobile home park, if you already know.
We're all aware.
Okay.
We've talked about it here before.
I could cook that too, I could do your chemistry, I could do that. I do need to lose some weight, but, anyway, just wanted to remind you, there are at least 3 wells downstream of this site over here, right? And people are still drinking out of those wells.
After it goes through.
After it goes through the plant, the cleaning.
Yeah, well, I'm assuming, okay. And then is that Weaver corner one on Fifth South, is that a well or is it a pump?
Well,
Where?
It is a well?
Yeah.
and Fifth and 11th,
Oh, yeah.
Fifth South and then 11 or what?
I don't know if it's culinary or secondary. I'm not
I heard Weaver water, I heard it was
It's secondary.
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 Yeah.
Matt knows.
I've had to turn it off.
Several times.
And guys, just help me with my memory, because I don't remember, this parking lot you're talking over here across the week, is across the workforce services, that's a Superfund site, right?
Correct.
And what was there before that polluted it, Hatchco?
Hatchco.
It was Hatchco?
Yeah.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
But those bugs are just eating away, so.
Okay.
So what?
There's, they injected,
Yeah?
microorganisms into the soil, and they come monitor it, and they're down there eating all the bad stuff.
Yeah, but if you remember right, it was gonna take something like 50 years. and
I
don't
know,
get
so we
by
got
then.
like 40 left.
We're making progress.
But we did get some reports on the Birch well and the mobile home park well that said that the chemicals were down, because it's heavier than water, it really wants to go below. It's heavier than water, and that they are now, the last test said that they were of an appropriate level that you could use them. I just don't wanna see something put up there upstream of them and go through that, 'cause-
We're not, that won't happen.
We'll be very conservative.
okay.
We're pretty aware of.
Promise, if I'm not dead, I'm coming back.
We-
If I am dead, I'm coming back too.
We expect you to hear, you're gonna taunt us.
We expect you here dead or alive.
I'm 70 years old, I'm not gonna be here.
We'll put a chair right here for you.
We'll put your names in the minute.
Okay, anything from the council, Ken?
I was just wondering on, if we're gonna water the lawns in our parks, it's getting pretty yellow.
I can testify that Monday night during the show, the sprinklers did come on.
I don't think they've ever come on down there in A1 ditch or the park there.
Sammy, that park, Sammy, you are correct, Scott and I had a conversation about it.
Okay, that park is that,
The one down in your.
Yeah,
There's two, there's the bigger one, then there's the smaller one, but also the A1.
I know that they've been coming on across the street from me.
Not talking about it today, I will make sure he knows the city council.
Cause I mean, that Crossville was just, looking like a.
Are they having trouble with the system, or?
That I don't know.
Dixie got to us, we're conserving water.
Yeah. We're killing all that $1 million grass.
so that park has also had its little library damage. It's
Which one?
missing at the large park. It's missing the door, was torn off, and all the books were taken.
Hopefully they're reading.
There was a resident who brought it up on the Facebook neighborhood site, who has books she wants to donate, but she wants the door back on to protect it from water. Well, that was Jared Christiansen.
Okay, so it just needs a door put
They
back.
need the door put back on, yeah, but I guess there's been other things going on down there. The arrow sign has been taken, the one that alerts people to the curve on 800 West, as you curve out to 700 West. And south. There used to be an arrow, and it's now been taken, so off the pole. I mean, so I'm thinking that replaced.
The pole's still there.
I'm How
Just
we
to
can
direct to
manage.
the new little light.
Oh, but these people, you know.
Okay, and then chief,
He stayed around all night just for this.
I noticed, I noticed some of our officers are sporting mustaches. Did you get rid of the beard
It
policy?
is until November first, no, October first.
Oh, okay,
We're having a clean shaven summer.
okay. Cause to me, mustaches are creepier than goatees. They are.
I had a mustache for
Right.
50 years.
In the
Yeah,
70s.
yeah.
In the 70s. I know, I've seen it online.
Video still on it.
But my wife
Still the
said,
picture.
no, my wife wanted me to do it because it breaks the monotony feel.
Now it's
Okay,
just
that's
boring.
good to know.
So you're saying you want me to bring it back?
I'd rather have a goatee than a creeper mustache, but that's just my opinion.
I don't know if we can put.
I think Cole has.
Just
Say
kidding.
creeper mustache in the policy manual.
You can have a mustache as long as it's not a creepy.
So, you want to be like pretty pointed, creeper mustache?
Yes, oh no.
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's just say in general,
You
with
can
the
have Ryan
exception
get
of
ready
Dawn
for deer hunt.
and his handlebar mustache,
This is for track.
you know, if he's not here, most
But
mustaches
he's
are
probably
good.
still listening.
No, if he is that thousand, his is fine. It's cool, he like details it,
Yeah.
like creeper mustaches. But I'm just putting that.
Somebody needs to
It's
make
your
it
department, you do what you want.
To make those things stay in place, you creep.
Somebody needs to make a snarl mustache.
I just wondered, because I
Yeah,
noticed
that's
that they had, a lot of
October
them
first.
had shaved. So, okay,
Sounds like that's a date you'll be looking for.
yeah, but it is.
Okay, anything else?
I've got one thing, Kate.
Right.
I was having a discussion with Melissa Ballard, and she said, hey, what's going on? Why can't you guys get along and figure out where to put that overpass? And she said, because she and Todd and several of them had really been pushing it, and they had some support with the legislature, and it was moving up the priority list, and then she said it got put on hold because our mayors can't get along and agree where to put it.
We get along all the time.
I don't believe that's what happened.
Well, that's what she told me.
I believe.
I said, well, I know that we've been talking about it, and there are some that want it at 5th South, and some that want it at 2600 South, and 1100 North, depending on which city you live in. But, anyway, she said they had it moving right along, and now it's on the back burner because there's no consensus.
That's not the whole truth.
That's why I'm bringing it up.
My understanding is that they just didn't get the funding. Because, yeah, we needed to have the discussion as to, you know, how much we were willing to put into that, and all the discussions that they came back to, well, there's no funding. Okay. So I guess it all needs to get on the same page.
And I just told her that our preference would be to be on 5th South rather than 26, because we have a bigger problem on 5th South than we do.
Is this a walkover or a drive over?
Drive over,
Yeah, 'cause
to get over the tracks.
there's a colony and they're building right there.
But that also gives you some real logistical problems.
Yeah.
And everyone needs to understand too, that's definitely not the whole story.
Right.
Because part of the project was too, is that 2600 South needs to be turned into a state highway as part of the project.
And it's not,
And no, it's not a state highway.
but then you have to trade a state highway.
Right, and North Salt Lake doesn't have a highway to trade, and they.
Because there's no way you get enough funding for it unless it's a state highway.
That's right, and it needs to be wide, see, this is the issue. You've already got this south, that the state spent millions of dollars to widen the 2 lanes each way. So you've already got it in place, you build the overpass, you got a done deal. On 11th, you not only get to build the overpass, but now you gotta take 26 down below and widen it. And so you got a lot of money that's going into that, and so this whole thing just didn't materialize. lot of issues. Yeah, I know Melissa's frustrated because we're not all on the same page, but they were coming back to us and saying, well, the city's gonna have to contribute all this money for this bridge, and I'm saying, I'm not sure if we're willing to do that for the 1,100, maybe 6,000. So we haven't even got to that discussion yet, so.
Like, she just brought it up, and I thought, well, we'll just have a discussion.
Yeah, so
So we need to see where we're at.
yeah, so there's a lot of issues there, and quite frankly, my position has always been, if we get a separated grade crossing, we're crossing that bridge with this stuff. But when they came to us with that one, then I said, well, okay, 6,000 is a very expensive proposition. So let's look at 11, but after we got to look at 11 isn't much cheaper than this.
Because of everything else.
Yeah.
Along the way, they'd have to do the frontage roads, and it would, from 11 west, you wouldn't have a straight pass through. You'd have to come up the door and back down and around, the way they had it laid out. And it wasn't going over that second set of tracks there by the line, it was only going through over.
The one that's one lane each direction.
Yeah. And
Still, because they got the crossing arm out and the light out into the middle of the road. They'll get moved when somebody dies because they hit it.
So that's what, so we do need to have, the bottom line is we do need to have a discussion with Melissa, Dorsal, and we do all need to be on the same page. She's correct there.
And just like they're in the same room, it sounds like there's some of you individually discuss it rather than let's sit in the same room and talk about it.
Mostly over text.
Well, we know about that.
So what is-
Gary and I met with.
Do we need a new judge yet? What's the
Yeah.
status of that?
I was gonna do that in my marriage report.
Okay, then, be quiet.
But we can do it now, and that's since I don't have to do my marriage report. So today we got an email from Amy, or not,
And then this is the
court of the judicial, and I've appointed Jeff and, Michelle to be on the selection committee. They'll have attorneys and a few other people that will be on there. If the applicant turned in the rest of his paperwork today, we did hit 10 candidates, so it's still the quota. And so I think we're good to go. She's gonna be contacting Jess and Michelle, and hopefully have a meeting next week or so.
So then we'll do a selection and we'll do ratification or selection.
So, is that 3 names?
Yeah.
So, Commissioner Elliott came to me today, look, coming back to the county, was that ever a consideration? I'm not promoting it or not.
No,
I don't want to.
no.
I think we've always considered one of our own business.
Yeah.
Great.
How's your,
We want our own court.
how's your hiring for records clerk coming?
It's complete, we hired yourself.
Oh, okay, awesome.
It's just cool hours now, cool.
So we'll need, so we need for a new court administrator, but Michelle has agreed to continue the essential functions of the court administrator until we have our replacement hired.
Awesome. Okay, good.
A lot of changes happening.
Wow, yeah. That's nice.
Okay, Wally's not here, so we'll bypass 18 and go to Matt on 19 and 20.
1920 were very quick. The mosquito got them sprayed, they'll spray down 15 and maybe spring. For everything pushed back a couple of months as far as where the mosquito populations are because of the wetness, but everyone expects that there's a lot of water out there. It's gonna catch up really quick.
Well, they're getting bad, because I've been out the last bit, and
And that's what I'm saying, as soon as it starts warming up,
Yeah.
it's gonna be good. Again, remember that if, especially around your house, it's bad, just give the mosquito basin and a call and hey, do a drive-by.
I hadn't heard it for probably 3 weeks, and I heard it last night.
Okay. Cause they have a set route that they like to do, but if somebody requests, then they can make sure that they get into certain areas. They're still working on a lot of drone work.
I guess I can't say I hadn't heard it for 3 weeks, because I was gone for 2. But I hadn't heard him for the week until last night, and before I left, I hadn't heard him for quite some time. And it used to be every 2 or 3 nights they were coming through the neighborhood.
And a lot of that might be because people kept calling, and so if people call, you get more attention. You can do that on the website, request it or.
So, but they don't do it on the weekends, right? So
Correct.
for our Monday night.
That's who they had to do it Friday, and so it's not as effective, but they can knock it down some, but yeah, for the Monday night activities, started scheduled for 13th of July or whatever that Friday night is, because you can't come the night before. And planning commission doing great, what's that?
Okay. So in the fire district, we did the same thing there, we did here tonight, we had the hearing on the amendments to the budget, and then passed our budget. Just so you know, the fire truck, the new ladder truck, they will be driving it out, it's leaving, Minnesota on this Friday.
They're not calling
Because it's a great, well, it's a great breaking opportunity for the truck. It doesn't go over 60 miles an hour, so nobody wants to volunteer for that, right? But,
You would know.
You would have driven it?
oh, yeah.
The board spray, yes, will be.
It is absolutely incredible, so.
I would have come driven the back of it.
There you go, hey, call them up. Road trip. Do you?
Yeah.
From Minnesota.
Let us know how it
Well,
goes.
Rec district, pretty much same thing, we did the budget, but before our regular board meeting, I'm on the committee for the, I guess we call it the visionary group. But looking to the future, trying to, what are we gonna have to do to meet the needs of our growing community recreation wise? The thing that's bubbled up to the top in our surveys is another 50-meter pool, and fix the outdoor pool out there this summer use. Maybe redo the, because the splash pad really isn't being used up there a whole lot. So,
Is it just mainly the street of pool that's being used?
yeah. So they're gonna look at all that, but we have some plans drawn up where we're gonna add a 50-meter pool to the south of the existing competition pool, and make it a part of the same building. We've also looked at doing a satellite location where we're gonna build a gymnasium and an outdoor pool, to kind of split it up, and they're looking at the south side of Woods Cross or Salt Lake for and buying property and doing that expansion. But our two biggest needs is aquatics and gym space and field space. So we're looking to solve all three of those issues, which is probably gonna require another bond by the district. And, I'm all for just fighting it all off at one time, getting over with and getting it built. So there's some differences of opinion there, but I think we go out and bond for the money and just do it. You know, we wouldn't be in the position we are right now if they would have done that to begin with, but it was a hard fight to get it. But I think people realize the importance of having something like that, so. So anyway, that was a very productive meeting. Matt stole my thunder on the mayor's report, so we're gonna go to 24. City administrator.
The meeting shorter because we just did that.
Yeah, there you go.
Senate Bill 34, I was gonna discuss that the first meeting in July, but at the time you said you're gonna be gone.
Yeah, who is Kenny, I mean,
So, I'll plan on doing that the second meeting in July, if that works for everyone.
I will be gone the second meeting in July,
You
but
wanna do it the first meeting in August?
I'm okay either way.
Okay.
I
We'll
can
just
probably
run-
call in, so I'll be back in.
Let's do the first meeting in August.
I like that.
Yeah, we're not in the rush.
Okay, thank
We'll
you.
do that. Summer picnic, we usually have that the first part of September, a Friday night, so it's, either the 6th or the 13th, so.
13th is the week.
Oh, is that the week? So then the 6th is probably, does that work for everyone? Okay.
What time?
don't have to do anything for the RDA.
Yes,
right?
we do.
Yeah, you got turn that page over, you
We
got
got about
something
five
there.
items, Dave.
You have a third.
I already moved for adjourned to the council.
Second.
Aye.
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 Hey.
Oh, switch the recorder?
Yeah.
Bye, Dixie.
Thank you, guys.
Okay, we ready? We are now in an RDA meeting, we'll dispense with the pledge and prayer. We're gonna, I'll call for a motion to approve the minutes of the 24th, our last RDA meeting.
I will make motion to approve the meeting.
And second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Consideration to adopt resolution adopting the 2020 budget redevelopment agency funds.
Anything changed from the
Exactly the same as, presented last meeting.
So,
I move that we approve, we adopt the resolution,
2019-125,
2019-125.
okay?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 That was so out of order.
Maybe we could skip every other month.
Somebody helping it.
Good job,
Helping
Mayor.
yourself.
So, we are now in the public hearing, we now close the public hearing.
Do we have any public left?
Public left.
Public is going.
Aye.
That was the fastest public hearing I've
I
ever.
know, right? So, consideration to adopt the resolution adopting adjustments to the FY 2019, adjustments to the 2019 RDA, does that really make sense?
So moved.
No, we got good adjustments.
You got some big dollars on those adjustments. What were you thinking, Gary?
What's that?
What were you thinking here?
I don't know.
Okay, so,
Well, these are the adjustments,
resolution 2019-126.
There's another sheet there, but the adjustments to the
Ryan
adjustments.
made a motion.
Ryan made the motion. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Julie?
Aye.
Gotcha.
Aye.
Say aye.
Aye. You were supposed to go first. Say aye. But before the motion, then it counts.
Okay, motion to adjourn.
Aye.
Aye.
Second.
We called it.
Aye.
We made the motion.
Wow.
If the first meeting could have gone that fast, because it,
I don't think the mayor can make a motion, I hope somebody else did.
Yes,
yeah.
Ryan did.
Ryan did.
And Matt seconded.
No, I seconded it.
Oh, Matt made it. So are you ever gonna wear that shirt again, man?
You're a hot section, yeah.